You wrote an article for The Atlantic entitled, quote, your words, not mine, "America's judiciary doesn't look like America." And you criticized this committee and President Trump for his judicial nominees. You said, quote, these are your words, not mine. "The judiciary crafted over the past 4 years does not look like America. Not one of these judges is black, and more than 90% were raised or currently identify as Christians." I don't know how you knew that. And then you say, quote, your words, not mine, "Identity is the lens that filters everything and everyone we encounter," end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Again, I don't know because I don't have the article in front of me.
I do. I got it right here.
Senator John Kennedy has never been one to mince words, and in this fiery exchange during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, he doesn't hold back. What begins as routine questioning quickly spirals into a devastating takedown as Kennedy confronts a Democrat nominee with her own words, word for word. From past articles to financial disclosures and activism records, Kennedy comes prepared, and the result is a clash that leaves no room for spin or denial. It begins with a simple but pointed question from Senator Kennedy. "Judge, you're not being honest with us, are you?" What follows is a methodical dismantling. Kennedy cites article after article, all penned by the nominee while serving as a sitting judge. The nominee, now visibly uncomfortable, claims she doesn't recall, but Kennedy does. He has the article in hand. Let's dive in.
You're not being honest with us, are you?
That is incorrect.
Well, we all may be poor, but we're not stupid. We have a long list of your articles and your opinions and your political statements. On October 13, 2020, while you were serving as a state judge, you wrote an article for The Atlantic entitled, quote, your words, not mine, "America's judiciary doesn't look like America." And you criticized this committee and President Trump for his judicial nominees. You said, quote, these are your words, not mine. "The judiciary crafted over the past 4 years does not look like America. Not one of these judges is black, and more than 90% were raised or currently identify as Christians." I don't know how you knew that. And then you say, quote, your words, not mine, "Identity is the lens that filters everything and everyone we encounter," end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Again, I don't know because I don't have the article in front of me.
I do. I got it right here. You wrote another article on July 31, 2020 for the San Francisco Daily Journal, in which you advocate for the right of sitting judges to be able to go to protests, didn't you?
That is incorrect.
No, it's not. I'm looking at it right here. This is what you say. "No judge should be ethical," your words, not mine. You just said you didn't say them. You turned these articles over. "No judge should be ethically constrained from speaking or taking action that reinforces that constitutional and moral imperative. May judges participate in demonstrations that denounce racism, support equal justice, and reinforce our constitutional rights to free speech and peaceable assembly? Yes." End quote. Did I read that correctly?
I don't know because I don't have the article in front of me.
If you're a federal judge, are you going to go to protests?
I would like to answer the substance of the underlying question that was asked.
I'd like you to answer my question. I've only got another minute or so. If you're a federal, let me put it another way. Have you ever gone to a protest, a public protest, while you're a sitting judge?
Senator Kennedy, the article that you are referring to
Have you ever
was
gone
written...
to a protest while you're a sitting judge?
I do not believe that I have ever attended a protest as a sitting judge, or perhaps ever in my life.
And you talk about Girls Inc. You say you've never heard of them. You were on the, or you don't know that much about them. You were on the board from 2014 to 2024. You're still on their board, aren't you?
I'm not. My term expired this last month.
And you've given them over $50,000, haven't you?
I do not believe that is correct.
That's what your report says. And this is the same Girls Inc. that says, quote, on its website, here's how they define girls. Quote, girls refers to gender-expansive youth, cis girls, trans girls, non-binary youth, gender and non-conforming youth, genderqueer youth, and any girl-identified youth. Did I read that correctly?
I don't know. I've never heard of that policy or that definition
You
from
never heard
Girls
of
Inc.
Listen, in spite of your, can I just have 30 more seconds? In spite of your strongly held political beliefs, and we've got all of them, all your articles, they're as long as King Kong's are you telling us today, do you believe that you will not allow your strongly held political beliefs to influence your judicial opinions? Do you believe that?
The best evidence of the type of federal judge I will be,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
type of
Do you
judge,
believe that? Do you believe that?
is the type of judge I have been for 10 years, who is one who always puts the law above my personal.
Do you also believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy?
Senator John Kennedy didn't walk into that hearing with assumptions. He walked in with evidence. Article after article, quote after quote, financial records and affiliations, all thoroughly researched and laid out with surgical precision. While the nominee deflected, dodged, and claimed ignorance of her own words, Kennedy brought clarity. He wasn't aggressive, he was deliberate. He didn't rely on rhetoric, he relied on facts. And he didn't grandstand, he exposed. This hearing wasn't about partisan politics. It was about credibility. It was about whether someone nominated to a lifetime position on the federal bench could be trusted to apply the law with impartiality, and time after time, the nominee gave the public more reason to doubt than to believe. When asked about articles she wrote, she couldn't recall. When asked about protests, she wavered. When asked about her financial ties to activist organizations, she denied what her own reports confirmed. But Kennedy had the receipts, and in doing so, he reminded the Senate and the American people why confirmation hearings matter. This is where the truth comes out. And when it didn't come willingly, Kennedy pulled it out piece by piece. His final words were cutting, but they were earned. Do you also believe in Bigfoot, the Tooth Fairy, Jimmy Hoffa died of natural causes? Because if we're expected to believe that a nominee with a decade-long paper trail of radical ideology and activism won't bring that bias to the bench, we may as well believe in fairy tales too. Senator Kennedy didn't destroy the nominee. She destroyed her own credibility. He just held up the mirror. And for that, Kennedy deserves credit. Not just for what he exposed, but for standing firm when others stay silent. In a system that too often rewards performance over principle, Kennedy chose truth. And the American people saw it loud and clear. If you believe in a judiciary that serves the law, not ideology, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it. Because accountability starts with exposure, and Senator Kennedy just delivered.